I am Beverly Richardson. Today is my 68th birthday, and the silence in my house is loud enough to break ear. It has been 5 years since the house felt alive. 5 years since the scent of Marcus's cologne faded from the hallways, replaced by the smell of old paper and lemon polish. I sat at the kitchen island, my hands wrapped around a mug of black coffee that had gone cold 20 minutes ago. I wasn't drinking it. I was just holding on to it, grounding myself against the granite countertop. The phone rang. It wasn't a soft chime. It was the harsh, jarring burr ring of the landline. I refused to disconnect. I picked it up on the third ring, checking the caller ID. Peyton, I said. My voice sounded rusty. I hadn't spoken to anyone since the cashier at the grocery store 2 days ago. Mom, Peyton's voice came through the receiver. It was clipped, precise, devoid of warmth. It was the voice she used when she was trying to close a real estate deal with a client who couldn't afford it. I'm 20 minutes out. Be ready. I'm ready, I said, trying to inject a little maternal enthusiasm into the line. I'm wearing the gray cardigan, the one Marcus gave me. Fine, whatever. Just be outside. We're on a tight schedule. Is Derek coming? I asked. Yes, he's in the car. We're taking you to lunch. It's a surprise. A surprise, I repeated. That sounds nice, sweetheart. I really appreciate. The line clicked dead. She had hung up. I stared at the receiver for a moment before placing it gently back in the cradle. A surprise. Peyton didn't do surprises. Peyton did calculations. If she was taking me to lunch, there was an angle. There was always an angle. Maybe she wanted to ask about the house again. Maybe Derek wanted to complain about the maintenance costs of the garden. I stood up and walked to the hallway mirror. The woman staring back looked tired. My hair was silver, my shoulders slightly stooped, not from frailty, but from the weight of carrying a secret for 20 years. I straightened my spine. I was Beverly Richardson. I had built an empire from a garage in 1991. I had negotiated deals that made grown men weep in boardrooms. I wasn't just a retired history teacher, even if that's all my daughter saw. I walked out the front door and waited on the porch steps. If you're watching this video, tell me where you're from or what time it is for you. A sleek black sedan turned onto the street. It wasn't the Honda Peyton used to drive. It was a rental, something high-end, polished to a mirror shine. She pulled into the driveway, but didn't kill the engine. She just honked. A single impatient blast. I walked down the path, locking the front door behind me. I opened the back door of the sedan and slid in. The interior smelled of new leather and aggressive air freshener. Happy birthday, Mom, Peyton said. She didn't turn around. She was tapping something into the GPS on the dashboard. Thanks, sweetheart. I looked at the passenger seat. Derek was checking his hair in the visor mirror. He didn't look back either. Hi, Bever, he said, adjusting his collar. Try not to touch the leather. This is a premium upgrade. Where are we going? I asked, buckling my seatbelt. The Italian place on 4th. No, Peyton said, putting the car into gear and peeling out of the driveway with unnecessary force. We're going somewhere better, somewhere quiet. I watched the neighborhood roll by. The houses I had known for 30 years blurred into a stream of green and beige. We hit the highway, but Peyton didn't take the exit toward the city center. She stayed in the left lane, heading north, toward the hills. Peyton, I said, leaning forward slightly, you missed the exit. The restaurants are downtown. We aren't going downtown, Peyton said. Her knuckles were white on the steering wheel. Then where are we going? The countryside. Just relax, Mom, Derek snapped, snapping the visor shut. It's a surprise. Stop ruining it with questions. I sat back. A cold knot formed in my stomach. I knew every restaurant worth eating at within a 50-mile radius. There was nothing north but industrial parks, and my blood ran cold. We passed the sign for the industrial park. We passed the exit for the outlet mall. Peyton took the exit for Scenic Route 9, the road that wound up toward the reservoir and toward the institutions. Peyton, I said, my voice dropping low. Turn the car around. We're almost there, she muttered. This isn't a lunch trip, I said. This is the road to the care facilities. Peyton, what are you doing? She didn't answer. She just pressed harder on the accelerator. The engine growled. We took a sharp right turn through a pair of wrought iron gates. A brick sign set into the landscaping read Riverside Meadows Manor, assisted living and memory care. Stop the car, I commanded. We're here, Peyton said, pulling up under the grand portico. I am not getting out, I said. Take me home now. Peyton killed the engine. She turned in her seat, and for the first time, she looked at me. Her eyes were hard, devoid of any love or guilt. You don't have a home anymore, Mom, This is it. The doors opened. Before I could react, Peyton was at my door, gripping my arm. Get out, she hissed. Get your hands off me, I said, trying to pull my arm back. She was stronger than she looked. Her fingers dug into my bicep. Don't make a scene, Derek whispered, appearing at my other side. People are watching. Do you want to embarrass us? I want you to unhand me, I shouted. They dragged me out of the car. My feet scuffed against the pavement. They marched me through the automatic glass doors and into the lobby. It smelled of lavender just like my house used to, but here it was chemical masking the underlying scent of bleach and decay. A woman in a white coat was waiting for us by the reception desk. She held a clipboard. Mrs. Richardson, she said, smiling, a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Right on time. Who are you? I demanded, shaking Peyton off. I'm leaving. Mom, stop it. Peyton barked. This is for your own good. My own good, I laughed. A harsh barking sound. Kidnapping me on my birthday is for my own good. It's not kidnapping, Derek said, stepping forward. He pulled a folded piece of paper from his pocket. It's a medical necessity. Dr. Collins signed the order this morning. Dr. Collins. I looked at him. I don't know a Dr. Collins. My doctor is Dr. Martinez. Dr. Collins is a specialist, Peyton said quickly. He reviewed your case. The memory lapses, the aggression, leaving the stove on. I have never left the stove on in my life, I roared. I cook my own meals every damn day. See, Derek pointed at me, looking at the nurse. Aggression, confusion. She doesn't even remember the incidents. It's classic early onset dementia, Peyton said, her voice dropping to a fake sympathetic whisper. She's a danger to herself. We can't care for her at home anymore. We tried. You tried. I stepped toward her. You haven't visited in a month. You call me once every 2 weeks to ask for money. Peyton's face tightened. She shoved me. It wasn't a gentle push. It was a hard shove to the chest. I stumbled back, my heel catching on the plush carpet, and I fell into a heavy armchair. Sit down, old woman. Peyton spat. The mask of the concerned daughter slipped. You're done. You hear me. You're done. I looked up at her. The receptionist was typing on her computer, ignoring the violence. The nurse was checking her watch. This was choreographed. You can't do this, I said, my voice trembling with rage. I have rights. You have nothing, Peyton said, leaning down so her face was inches from mine. You are a burden. You are a drain on resources. You are expired inventory. Old woman, you're just taking up space that could be used by people who actually matter. Expired inventory, I repeated. The words hit harder than the shove. That's right, Derek added, looming over me. And we're the liquidators. Empty her pockets, Peyton ordered the nurse. She doesn't need keys or a wallet in here. She just lose them. The nurse, a large woman with a grip like a vice, stepped forward. Stand up, Mrs. Richardson. Let's get you processed. I am not giving you my wallet, I said, clutching my side. Peyton didn't wait for the nurse. She reached into my pocket herself. She ripped my leather wallet out. She patted my other pocket and took my smartphone. I'll take these for safekeeping, Peyton said, pocketing them. That's theft, I said. It's asset management, she smirked. We have power of attorney, remember? Or, did you forget that, too? I never signed a power of attorney. Dr. Collins says you're incapacitated, Derek said, which means Peyton is in charge and Peyton says you stay here. They turned to leave. They didn't look back. They walked out of the lobby, past the fake fireplace, and through the glass doors. I watched them get into the black sedan. I watched them drive away. Come on, the nurse said, pulling me to my feet. Director Hayes doesn't like clutter in the lobby. I want to call the police, I said. Phone privileges are earned. Honey, she said, dragging me down a hallway. Right now, you're on level 1 restriction. No phone, no visitors, no outside contact until you acclimate. She led me into a small windowless room. Take it off, she commanded. She took my gray cardigan, the cashmere one Marcus had bought me. She threw it into a plastic bin and handed me a thin, scratchy hospital gown. Put this on. I am not wearing that. Wear it or the orderlies will put it on you, and they aren't gentle. I looked at her. I looked at the open door where 2 large men in scrubs were waiting. I took the gown. I stripped off my blouse, my dignity peeling away with it. They took my picture, a mugshot. They took my fingerprints. Then they marched me down a long, dim corridor that smelled of urine and bleach. Room for C, the nurse said, pushing a heavy door open. The room was a shoebox. There were 2 beds. One was occupied by a lump under a sheet that was wheezing rhythmically. The other was bare mattress, springs exposed. Your roommate is Mrs. Henderson, she said. She screams at night. Try to ignore her. She pushed me inside and closed the door. I heard the lock click. I stood in the middle of the room, clutching the thin gown around me. I was 68 years old. I was a millionaire 80 times over, and I was locked in a cell with a screaming roommate, stripped of my name, my clothes, and my daughter. I sat on the bare mattress. The springs dug into my thighs. I didn't cry. I was past crying. I felt a cold, hard stone forming in the center of my chest. Expired inventory. We'll see about that, I whispered to the dark room. Time lost its meaning in room for C. The light coming through the high barred window faded from gray to black. Mrs. Henderson woke up once, screamed something about the birds, and went back to sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed, my mind racing. I needed a phone. I needed Esther Reyes. If I could just get one call out, I could end this. But the door was solid wood and the corridor was silent. Around midnight, the lock clicked. I stood up instantly, my fists balling at my sides. A burly orderly stood there. He held a flashlight. Richardson, he grunted. That's me. Director wants to see you. The director. It's midnight. He works late. Move. He grabbed my arm and pulled me into the hallway. We walked past the nurse's station, which was empty. We took an elevator up to the 3rd floor. This floor was different. The carpet was thick. The lighting was warm sconces instead of buzzing fluorescents. Administrative wing. The orderly grunted. He stopped at a set of double mahogany doors and knocked. Enter. A deep voice called from inside. The orderly shoved me in and closed the door behind me. The office was massive. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the valley lights. Bookshelves lined the walls, filled with leather-bound volumes. A massive oak desk sat in the center of the room, covered in papers. A man sat in a high-backed leather chair, his back to me, looking out the window. Mrs. Richardson, the man said, my staff tells me you had a difficult intake. I was kidnapped, I said, my voice steady, by my daughter. She has stolen my property. She has forged medical documents. I am demanding you call the police immediately. Kidnapped is a strong word, the man said, swiveling the chair around. Usually, we call it involuntary compassionate admission. He stopped. The man in the chair froze. He was holding a glass of amber liquid. His hands started to shake. He stared at me, his eyes widening. Beverly, he whispered. I stared back. The silver hair was thinner, the face more lined. But I knew those eyes. I knew that crooked nose from when he broke it playing football in our junior year. Lawrence, I gasped. Lawrence Hayes. Lawrence Hayes dropped his glass. It hit the hardwood floor and shattered, splashing bourbon everywhere. He didn't even look at it. He stood up, his mouth opening and closing like a fish. Beverly, my God, Beverly Richardson. Lawrence. I walked forward, my legs shaking slightly. What are you doing here? I'm the director, he stammered. I've been running Riverside Meadows for 5 years since I left the corporate world. He came around the desk and grabbed my shoulders, as if checking to see if I was real. Beverly, look at you. You look terrible. What are you wearing? A hospital gown, I said. Your staff took my cashmere cardigan, but the admission file. Lawrence ran back to his desk and scrambled through a stack of folders. He pulled one out. Patient 2490 admitted today. Betty Rivers, diagnosis advanced dementia. Guardian, Patricia Rivers. She changed the names, I said, realizing the depth of Peyton's pettiness. She used my nickname. She used her middle name, Patricia. My daughter Peyton. Peyton put you in here? Lawrence looked at the file, then at me. But the medical report. Dr. Collins fake. I said never met him. Peyton and her husband Derek dragged me here. They stole my wallet. They stole my phone. Lawrence, they called me expired inventory. Lawrence's face went from shock to a dark, thunderous red. She did what? She dumped me here to rot so she could sell my house. She thinks I'm just a retired teacher with a pension. Lawrence slammed the file shut. I'm calling the police. I'm having that little witch arrested right now. He reached for the phone on his desk. No, I shouted. Lawrence froze, his hand hovering over the receiver. Beverly, she committed fraud, kidnapping, elder abuse. If you call the police, I said, my voice turning cold and analytical. The voice of the CEO returning. She claims I'm senile. She has the paperwork. Fake or not, it will be a legal battle. She'll have time to hide the assets. She have time to spin a story. So, what do we do? Lawrence asked. Let her get away with it. No, I said, we let her think she got away with it. Lawrence poured 2 fresh glasses of bourbon from a crystal decanter. He handed me one. I took a sip. The burn was familiar and grounding. Sit down, Beverly, Lawrence said, pointing to a plush leather chair. Talk to me. The last I heard, you sold Echelon Systems and vanished. I didn't vanish, I said. I retired. Marcus and I wanted a normal life for Peyton. We didn't want her to grow up a trust fund brat. So, we put the money away. The money? Lawrence lowered his voice. From the sale. Yes, 92 million, Lawrence. After taxes and 20 years of compound interest managed by Esther Reyes. Lawrence whistled low and long. 92 million, and Peyton thinks I have a teacher's pension and a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, and she dumped a $92 million mother in a state-subsidized room to steal a $300,000 house. Exactly. I took another sip. She's greedy, Lawrence, but she's not smart. She's desperate. I've seen the way she looks at luxury cars. I've seen Derek eyeing jewelry he can't afford. So, what's the plan? Lawrence asked, leaning forward. The shock was gone, replaced by a conspiratorial gleam I remembered from our college days. I need a base of operations, I said. I can't stay in room for C, but I can't leave either. If I leave, she'll know. She needs to believe I'm rotting. Lawrence nodded. I have the VIP secure wing, 3rd floor, private suites, soundproof, locked from the outside, but luxury on the inside. No one goes in there but my head nurse, and she's loyal. Perfect. Put me there. List me as isolated for behavioral issues in the main system, so no low-level staff asks questions. Done. Lawrence pulled a notepad closer. What about Peyton? She's going to start liquidating assets. I said she'll start with the bank accounts, then the house. I need to know every move she makes. I can handle the medical front, Lawrence said. I'll call her. I'll give her updates. I'll tell her you're getting worse. I'll feed her ego. And I need a phone. I said, a burner and a laptop. Secure line. I need to contact Esther. Lawrence opened a drawer and tossed me a sleek smartphone. Personal line. Untraceable. Keep it hidden. I caught the phone. Thank you, Lawrence. Don't thank me yet. Lawrence grinned, a shark-like expression. We haven't even started having fun. An hour later, I was moved to room 312. It was a world away from 4C high thread count sheets, a private bathroom, a view of the valley, and most importantly, silence. Lawrence had set up a laptop on the small desk. I logged into my secure cloud server. My fingers flew across the keys. I drafted an encrypted email to Esther Reyes. Subject, code black. The lioness is awake. Esther, initiate protocol Omega. Peyton has compromised my physical security. She believes I am incapacitated. She is currently executing a theft of the visible estate. Do not intervene. I repeat, do not intervene. Monitor all accounts. Freeze nothing. Let her take the bait. I am safe. Contact me on the secure number only. I hit send. Then I lay back on the bed. I stared at the ceiling. Expired inventory. I whispered. I wasn't expired. I was just waiting for the market to open. 2 days passed. I spent them in room 312, exercising, eating the gourmet meals Lawrence smuggled in, and watching the financial reports Esther sent me. Lawrence came in on Thursday morning. He didn't look happy. She made a move, Lawrence said, tossing a tablet onto the bed. I picked it up. It was a transaction report from my local credit union. She cleaned it out, I said, reading the numbers. Checking in savings, $15,000. She walked into the branch with the fake medical power of attorney, Lawrence explained. Told the manager you needed specialized care equipment. Withdrew it all in a cashier's check. 15,000, I mused. That won't last Derek a week. She's also listed the house. Lawrence said fast sale, cash only. She's looking for a quick flip. Let her sell it. I said the house is just wood and brick. Marcus is gone. There's something else. Lawrence said she called me. She wants to know if you're lucid. What did you tell her? I told her you were howling at the moon and forgetting your own name. She sounded relieved. Good. Keep her comfortable. Saturday morning, my phone buzzed. It was a priority alert from Esther's private investigator. Subject, Peyton Richardson. Location, 815 Magnolia Drive. Your residence. Activity, deep search. I opened the video feed. Esther had installed hidden cameras in the house years ago, a security measure I never thought I'd use against my own daughter. I watched on the tablet screen as Peyton and Derek tore through my study. They were pulling books off shelves, ripping paintings off the walls. There has to be more. Derek was screaming, 15 grand. That's it. That barely covers the Lexus lease. She was a miser. Peyton shouted back, overturning my desk chair. She hoarded everything. There has to be cash somewhere. Old people always hide cash. I watched, feeling a mix of anger and pity. They were destroying the room where I used to grade papers, where I taught Peyton to play chess. Then Peyton stopped. She was standing on the rug in the corner. She stomped her foot, a hollow thud. My heart stopped. Peyton, no, I whispered. She kicked the rug aside. Beneath it was a loose floorboard. I had put it there 30 years ago. Jackpot, Peyton yelled. She pried the board up. Underneath was a small fireproof floor safe. Lawrence, I yelled. Lawrence ran in from the hallway. What is it? She found the safe. I pointed at the screen. I forgot about the safe. What's in it, Beverly? Bearer bonds, I said, rubbing my temples. Vintage railway bonds I bought in the 90s, and gold Krugerrand. It was my apocalypse fund, from before the Echelon sale. How much current value? Maybe 250,000. On the screen, Peyton had guessed the combination. It was her birthday. The door swung open. She pulled out the stack of bonds and the tubes of gold coins. Oh my God, Derek gasped, grabbing a gold coin. We're rich. Peyton, look at this. I told you, Peyton yelled, holding up the bonds. I knew the old rat was holding out on us. $250,000. Easy. I slammed the tablet face down on the bed. Damn it, I hissed. That money, that's real liquid capital, Lawrence. That changes the game. How? With 15,000, she's desperate. With $250,000, she's dangerous. She can hire lawyers. She can pay off the nursing home for a year to keep me here. She can leverage this to get loans. She feels invincible, Lawrence noted. She thinks she just won the lottery. We need to take it back, I said. Not by force, by greed. We need to give her a place to put that money, a place where it will disappear. I have an idea, Lawrence said slowly. There's a rumor going around the investment circles. A new tech startup, Lithium Surge. Supposedly they found a massive vein of lithium in Nevada. Is it real? The company is real. Lawrence smiled. But the lithium pure vaporware, it's a shell setup my brother-in-law uses to catch corporate spies. But to an outsider, it looks like the next Tesla. Can we control it? I can get you the back-end access. We can make the stock look like it's skyrocketing. But it's a closed loop. Do it, I said. And you're going to pitch it to her. Me. You're the director. You're her confidant. Call her. Tell her you have an insider tip, but you need cash fast. Tell her you can help her turn that gold into millions to secure her mother's care. Lawrence nodded. The false lead. I like it. Lawrence made the call on speakerphone an hour later. Peyton, Lawrence said, his voice hushed and urgent. I shouldn't be telling you this, but I know you're worried about the bills. We found some assets, Peyton bragged. We're doing okay. Okay isn't enough, Lawrence said. Listen, I have a contact in mining. Lithium Surge. The announcement is going public in 3 days. The stock is trading at $4 right now. It's projected to hit 40 by Friday. 10 times. Peyton's voice cracked with greed. I'm putting my own pension in. Lawrence lied smoothly. If you want in, I can bundle your buy-in with mine, but it has to be today. There was a silence on the line. I could practically hear the gears turning in Peyton's head. She looked at the gold coins. She looked at the bonds. She saw a yacht. She saw a penthouse. I'm in, Peyton said. I'll wire you the funds by close of business. The money transfer came through. $260,000. Every cent of the bonds and gold liquidated at a pawn shop for quick cash, plus the money from the house sale closing early. Peyton poured it all into Lithium Surge. For 3 days, I sat in room 312 and manipulated the fake stock ticker on a website Esther built in an afternoon. I watched the number go up. Green arrows plus 20%, plus 50%, plus 200%. Peyton was ecstatic. She sent Lawrence champagne. She posted photos of herself on Instagram looking at charts, captioned, Mogul Life, New Money. Then came the Tuesday update from the pie subject. Estate sale items sold. I scrolled through the list. Furniture, my books, and then the item that made my blood turn to ice. Item, 1955 violin. Seller notes, old junk instrument, sold for $450. She sold the violin, I said, my voice deadly quiet. Lawrence looked up from his paperwork. Marcus's violin, he played that every Sunday, I said. It was worth $40,000. She sold it for $450, like it was firewood. I stood up. I walked to the window. The sadness was gone. The nostalgia was gone. All that was left was a cold mechanical precision. She's done, I said. The lesson is over. Lawrence, tell Esther to execute the debt buyout. Now, right now, she feels rich. She thinks Lithium Surge is about to pay out $1 million. She's probably leveraging that imaginary profit to buy things. She is. Lawrence checked the report. She just put a down payment on a Mercedes-AMG, and she leased a condo in the Hampton Heights Tower. Good. Get me Esther. I want to own every cent of debt she creates. Who are we using? Centurion Capital for the car. Arrowhead Finance for the credit cards and the personal loans. I want to be the one holding the leash when she chokes. Friday morning. The day Peyton thought she would become a millionaire. I sat at the laptop. I opened the Lithium Surge admin panel. The stock was sitting at a fake value of $42 a share. Peyton's portfolio showed a value of nearly $3 million. Ready? Lawrence asked. Execute, I said. I hit the button labeled Market Correction. Instantly, the chart plummeted. A red line dropped straight down. A news alert popped up on the fake trading platform. SEC investigation launched into Lithium Surge. Assets frozen. CEO absconded. The stock value hit $0.00. $3 million vanished in a second. The real money, the $260,000 Peyton had wired, was already sitting safely in the Marcus Richardson Foundation account. My phone buzzed. It was the bug in Peyton's new apartment. No, Peyton screamed. No, no, no. Refresh the page. Derek, refresh the damn page. It says 0. Peyton. Derek shrieked. It says 0. Where is the money? It's a glitch. I'll call Lawrence. His phone rang. But it wasn't Lawrence. Answer it, Derek yelled. Hello. Peyton's voice was shaking. Mrs. Richardson. A cold, robotic voice answered. It was Esther using a voice modulator. This is Ms. Vance from Centurion Capital. We hold the note on your Mercedes-AMG. Look. I'm busy right now, Peyton stammered. We have received notification of insolvency regarding your assets. We are exercising the immediate recall clause. The vehicle is being immobilized remotely. You can't do that. I have money coming in. The vehicle is disabled. Mrs. Richardson, a recovery team is 2 minutes away. Click. Who is that? Derek asked. The car. They're taking the car. Peyton, my credit card just declined. Derek stared at his phone. I tried to order lunch. It says, account seized by Arrowhead Finance. Arrowhead? Who the hell is Arrowhead? They bought the debt, Peyton. Someone bought all our debt. I watched the feed from the street cameras. A flatbed truck backed up to the Hampton Heights Tower. 2 men hooked up the gleaming silver Mercedes. Peyton ran out onto the sidewalk, still in her pajamas. Stop, she yelled, waving her arms. It's a mistake. I have millions in Lithium Surge. Step back, ma'am, the tow truck driver said, bored. He lifted the car. People were watching. Neighbors were filming with their phones. Peyton looked at her phone. She dialed. Lawrence. Lawrence answered on speaker in room 312. Director Hayes. Peyton sounded like she was drowning. The stock had crashed. Tell me it's a mistake. I saw the news, Peyton, Lawrence said, his voice grave. It's a tragedy. It looks like a Ponzi scheme. The money is gone. My pension is gone, too. Gone. But I leveraged everything. I took out loans against the gains. I'm sorry, Peyton. I have to go. I have my own lawyers to call. Lawrence hung up. She's hyperventilating, Lawrence observed, looking at the street camera. She's sitting on the curb. She's not done yet, I said. Esther, send the eviction notice. A moment later, a process server walked up to Peyton on the curb and handed her a bright orange envelope. Peyton opened it. She read it. She dropped her head into her hands. The audio bug in the apartment caught the aftermath. Derek was throwing things. You promised me. You said your mother was a gold mine. She is, Peyton yelled back. I made a bad bet. You lost the house money. You lost the bond money. We are homeless, Peyton. We have 24 hours to vacate. I can fix this. How? You have nothing. We have nothing. We have her, Peyton said. Her voice changed. It went from panicked to sinister. We still have the old woman. She's senile. She's useless. She has a signature. Peyton hissed. Esther Reyes, the lawyer. She said the trust is frozen until she dies, or until she signs a release. If we can get her to sign, even if she's confused, we can unlock the real money. She won't sign. She doesn't know who she is. Then we make her sign, Peyton said. We go there. We demand to see her. We put a pen in her hand and we guide it. We tell the staff it's medical forms. Once I have that signature, I can override the freeze. They won't let us in. Director Hayes said screw Hayes. He lost our money, too. We're going there now. Get your coat. I looked at Lawrence. She's coming, I said. She's coming to force a signature. Lawrence nodded. Desperate animals are the most dangerous. Is the team ready? Esther is in the conference room. The forensic accountants are set. The cameras are rolling. Then let's get dressed, I said. I walked to the closet. I pushed aside the tracksuits Lawrence had bought me. In the back, in a garment bag, was my charcoal gray St. John's suit. I put it on. The silk blouse felt like armor. I buttoned the jacket. I looked in the mirror. The old woman was gone. The CEO was back. We waited in the main conference room. It was a fortress of mahogany and glass. I sat at the head of the table. Esther Reyes sat to my right, her laptop open. Lawrence stood by the window. We heard the shouting from the lobby. I don't care what the rules are. Peyton was screaming. I am her legal guardian. I demand to see my mother. Am. Please lower your voice. The receptionist said, get out of my way. The doors to the conference room flew open. Peyton stormed in, looking wild-eyed. Her blouse was untucked, her hair disheveled. Derek was right behind her, clutching a fake designer wallet. Where is she? Peyton roared. Where is the she? Stopped. She saw me. I wasn't in a wheelchair. I wasn't drooling. I was sitting upright, hands folded on the table, staring at her with icy calm. Hello, Peyton, I said. My voice was deep, resonant, filling the room. Peyton froze. She looked at me, then at Lawrence, then at Esther. Mom, she whispered. Why are you wearing a suit? Take a seat, sweetheart, I said, gesturing to the chair opposite me. We have business to discuss. Peyton didn't move. I don't understand. The doctor said, Lawrence works for me. I said, he always has. Peyton whipped her head toward Lawrence. Lawrence just crossed his arms and stared back, cold as stone. You lied to me, Peyton breathed. I mirrored you, Peyton, Lawrence said. You lied to your mother. I just returned the favor. Sit down, I commanded. The tone was absolute. Peyton stumbled to the chair and sat. Derek hovered behind her, looking terrified. You came here for a signature, I said. You came to force a confused old woman to sign away her estate so you could cover your gambling losses and your stupidity. I know, Mom. I came to visit, Peyton stammered, trying to put the mask back on. I was worried. Cut the crap, I said. We heard the audio from your apartment. We know about the coercion plan. Peyton turned pale. You bugged my apartment. I bugged the apartment I own. I corrected. Through Centurion Capital. Peyton's eyes went wide. Your Centurion, and Arrowhead Finance. Esther chimed in, sliding a folder across the table. And the holder of your defaulted lithium surge investment. You, Peyton, looked like she was going to be sick. You did this. You ruined me. You ruined yourself, I said. I just expedited the process. I stood up and walked around the table. You stole my house, I said softly. You sold Marcus's violin for pocket change. You called me expired inventory. Mom, please. Peyton began to cry. Tears of fear, not remorse. I was desperate. I didn't mean it. You meant every word, I said. And now, we're going to settle the account. Esther opened a thick binder. Mrs. Richardson, she said, we have compiled a list of your offenses. Elder abuse, fraud, theft over $100,000, conspiracy. If we hand this file to the district attorney, you are looking at 15 years in federal prison. Both of you. Derek let out a whimper. However, I said, leaning against the table, I'm not interested in a trial. It takes too long. What do you want? Peyton asked, wiping her nose. I want you to work, I said. I slid a single piece of paper toward her. This is a confession, I said, and a repayment plan. Peyton looked at the paper. Repayment. But I'm bankrupt. You took everything. Exactly, I said, which means you have to earn it back. The total value of the theft and damages is $640,000. You will repay every cent with interest. I can't. It will take a lifetime. Then you better start now, I said. I have arranged jobs for you. Manual labor, minimum wage. A percentage of your wages will be garnished automatically until the debt is paid. Manual labor. Derek gasped. I'm a real estate agent. Not anymore, I said. Now, you're a warehouse clerk. And if we refuse? Peyton asked, a spark of defiance trying to ignite. Then I call the police, I said simply, and you go to jail today. I took out my phone, the one Lawrence had given me, and placed it on the table. I started to dial 911. Wait, Peyton yelled. I'll sign. She grabbed the pen. Her hand shook violently as she scrawled her name. Derek signed next, sobbing onto the mahogany. Esther collected the papers. One more thing, I said. I reached into my pocket and pulled out a gold coin, one of the Krugerrands Peyton had sold. I had bought it back from the pawn shop. I tossed it to her. She caught it reflexively. Keep that, I said as a reminder. That's the only inheritance you will ever see. Mom, Get out. I said, you are trespassing. Lawrence opened the door. Security guards were waiting. Peyton and Derek stood up. They looked small, broken. They walked out of the conference room, past the security, and out of my life. I stood by the window and watched them walk to the street. They didn't have a car. They had to walk to the bus stop. 6 months later, I stood on a podium in front of a renovated brick building downtown. The sign above the door read, "The Marcus Richardson Foundation." A crowd had gathered, reporters, city officials, and behind them, dozens of elderly people who had been helped by our legal team. Lawrence stood next to me, smiling. "You ready, Beverly?" he asked. "I'm ready," I said. I looked at the crowd. I thought about Peyton working the night shift at a warehouse, paying off her debt 1 hour at a time. She was learning the value of $1 for the first time in her life, maybe in 20 years. She would be a woman worth knowing, maybe not, but I wasn't expired inventory. I took the scissors and cut the ribbon. The crowd cheered. I was just getting started. If this story resonated with you, leave a like and consider subscribing. You can also drop any comment below, even just one word. Maybe tell me where you're watching from or what time it is right now. Sometimes one word is enough to say, you were here.